Summer gets busy, as we know, and so we don't have time to sort through all the movies and the streaming choices, so we bring in Richard to sort it all out for us. So we start with a brand new movie on Apple TV, The Dink.
Now, Marianne, if you know what that title means, it tells me whether or not you play pickleball.
Okay, I don't know what it means.
Because this is the first pickleball movie.
Oh,
it was inevitable. Jake Johnson, who's an Evanston guy, by the way. His dad used to own a Chevy dealership on the South Side. Pure Chicago guy. So he plays a former tennis player who now is going to try to make a comeback through the pickleball circuit. Okay. So it kind of reminded me of those funny comedies like Dodgeball, recreational sports movies. I liked it a lot. It's worth your time. What I like about this is it's kind of country club comfort viewing. Nothing too bad happens to anybody here. A lot of great supporting performances. Mary Steenburgen, Ed Harris plays his dad, and there's a lot of pickleball. But if you don't know about pickleball, it's not like you're learning three-dimensional chess. No offense to the pickleball. So the dink is like a little shot you do kind of a soft, delicate shot. So he becomes known for the dink. So, you know, it's just, I like that it's not a series. It's 90 minutes and we're out. It's funny. There's Ben Stiller. Every scene has, oh, there's Patton Oswalt. There's somebody else that we recognize and love. So I kind of like, this is kind of perfect for that late July, early August viewing where you're like, I don't want to see anything serious. Let's make a margarita and watch a funny movie.
Okay, that's a good suggestion. That's a good way to put it. All right,
There's
next up. That's a good quote. A toxic love story. These are always fun, right? Because you're just like, oh, why are you doing that?
I know.
Don't stick with them.
I will say it's worth your time, Marianne. We've talked about these true crime documentaries on Netflix. What's interesting about this is it seems like a typical but very sad case where there's a couple together and the ex starts harassing them, but then gets really vicious and creates Craigslist ads. And it's got a lot to do with, you know, how people can use technology to establish false identities and catfish people and narcissism. But then we're 45 minutes into this and we think the story's over, and it's just starting. I don't want to get, but it's one of those where if you're watching it at home, you're like, oh, wait a minute. I know what's going to happen, but it doesn't. And then it does, but then something else happens. So people might know the real life story, but if they don't, I would say don't read up on it. Just see this. And it's really well done, too. They kind of construct this, you know, using the body cam footage, using the interviews, but it almost feels like you're watching a real life horror movie because you kind of are.
Wow.
Really well done, though. Yeah.
Wow. You sold that one.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah. Okay, Obsession. Now, this one, I've already heard a lot about. I heard it wasn't expensive to make.
Exactly.
And one of those, almost like by a YouTuber.
Curry Barker made this almost for nothing, Marianne. I wanted to mention this. It came out in theaters, but we talked about how everybody needs to see The Odyssey on the big screen. And I actually would argue that Obsession, which I love, which is really good, almost works better as an at-home viewing experience. It's about a guy who casts a spell, basically, on a woman to make him fall in love with her. First of all, that's an incredibly horrible, immoral thing to do when you think about magic potions. So when he starts getting his comeuppance, you have to remember that. But Indy Navarrete, who's the young actor who plays the girl who gets, you know, kind of basically drugged through a spiritual spell, is amazing. Reminded me of Glenn Close in Fatal Attraction.
Oh,
but Marianne, I think the thing about this is if you see it in a theater, you have the comfort of all your fellow moviegoers. If you watch it at home, alone or with just one other person late at night with the lights off and there's maybe a little sound coming from outside the window.
Oh my gosh.
I did it having seen it in the theaters, and I still was yelling at the screen a couple times saying, don't do that to me. So I think it really works. We always talk about this. I'd love for people to go to theaters. I think if you didn't get a chance to catch this, the home viewing experience, but you got to envelop yourself in the darkness.
Okay.
And the terror.
I'll tell you what, I just watched the preview. You know how they pre-roll?
Yes.
I was freaked out enough not to want to see the movie. So that says a lot to me right there.
Yeah.
3 good ones from Richard Roeper.
Yes.
All right. Thanks, Richard. We appreciate it. You can watch Roper's Take every single Thursday at 4 o'clock right here on NBC5.